So this morning I want to share with you a message I've entitled Succeeding in Something You've Never Done Before. Succeeding, being successful in something you've never done before. And I think this is going to be a great message, and we're going to give Sam time to look at this. But this is coming out of the book of Joshua. Joshua chapter 1. So if you want to take your Bibles or your phone app and turn to Joshua chapter 1, that's where we're going to be this morning. Now let me say this. There are certain principles that govern whether you will succeed or whether you will fail, especially in anything new. There are certain principles that will govern whether you succeed or fail, especially in anything new. So Uriel Herrera, did I say that? Uriel is changing his position now, his job and his focus, and he's becoming a radiologist. And he is training to do, you'll do x-rays, you'll do all kinds of stuff, right? You can do all kinds. So there are principles that will govern whether you will succeed or fail, right? You don't want to go to Uri on a bad day when he's failing. If you have to get x-rayed, you'll get like, oh man, I got a really good tan now. No, there are certain principles you got to follow. And so you're going to school right now. How long does it take for you to become a radiologist? 2 years. And you're in your first year? You're in your second. Okay, so so it's a minimum of that. You're going to be a lot of on-the-job learning as well and other stuff. Okay. So just like that, in your life and my life, there are principles that govern. They override or they work with you and they tell you whether you're going to succeed or fail. In 1986, I started, along with my lovely wife, Tina, a Teen Challenge Crisis Center in Florida, down in Fort Lauderdale. Literally, we went to Fort Lauderdale. There was a group there from the Salvation Army that had a building, and they said, if you want, we'll let you use this building for free. And it was really an old, run-down building that needed a lot of work. But we started the Teen Challenge Center right in that building. I had no idea. We were right off, one block off of Las Olas, if anybody knows anything about Fort Lauderdale. That's like one of the main spring break centers and all this stuff. Anyway, but we didn't know what we were doing at all. I was 24 or 25. Yeah, 23, maybe 23, 24. We were really, really young. We didn't know what we were doing. But somehow the Lord helped us, and I'm going to share about that. In 1989, 3 years later, we felt released from Teen Challenge, and we went to another church and started Calvary Church in Inverness, Florida. And I wanted to pastor. It was there that I learned how to pastor. It's also there that I learned how to negotiate and buy property. I learned how to start a church. I learned how to have staff, and I learned how to build buildings. We bought over 11 acres of property, and we built over 21,000 square feet of commercial space. We started using multimedia. Before that, you know what we used, guys? We used overhead projectors. There was someone whose job it was, they would sit here, and this was their ministry. They would sit here, there would be a table, there would be an overhead projector, and there would be clear slides, and we would put the slides on the projector and would project up on the wall. Isn't that something? And we were on the cutting edge of ministry and of media back then. So it was there we started doing that. It was there that we started learning how to do so many other things. I had never really done a funeral before. I started doing funerals. Now, I have to know, if any of you die, I am so good at funerals. You will get the best funeral you've ever had in your life. Get that? I didn't know how to marry people. I didn't know how to officiate a marriage. I had to learn how to do that. And I just officiated the Hatchers. And look at that. They're happily married. That's right. I can't take credit for that. Because they've only been married about a month. Right? Just about a month? Yeah. But Liz is really, really happy. So Blake, you must be doing something right. Whatever it is, you keep that up. Okay? I didn't know how to baptize people in water. I didn't know how to take them down and hold them down until they got all washed off and bring them back up. I didn't know how to do any of that. There's so many things I just didn't know how to do, but I learned. I didn't know how to do a board meeting. I still don't know how to do board meetings. I didn't know how to do a lot of stuff, and I learned how to do all that stuff. I had no idea how to succeed, but I succeeded. Some of you the same. I think about Colonel Gertner, retired, jumping out of planes and thinking, my Lord, why would anybody jump out of a perfectly good plane? You know, that is beyond my comprehension. But he learned how to do stuff like that. He learned how to command, what, a battalion? Not quite? Not quite. All right, whatever. But you did a lot of stuff. You're a colonel in the Army, for crying out loud. You learned a lot of stuff. And also a ranger. And did a lot. You just don't know that until you actually have to start doing it. Right? Well, I say all that to say this. Joshua, in the Old Testament, was fearful and hesitant. He had to lead the nation of Israel into the Promised Land. And he had to lead that nation into the Promised Land without Moses. I could do a lot of stuff as long as there were people helping me. I didn't realize that, you know why I was able to succeed so well? I had the world's greatest generation up there in Inverness. They were all people who had lived and fought during World War II. And I had guys that had parachuted in on D-Day. These are the real deal. They never talked about what they went through hardly. Every now and then I'd get them to talk to me, and they'd talk to me and tell me how scared they were. Tell me how absolutely horrifying it was. And one guy said I had to start thinking of myself as already dead. Can you imagine? Just so he said he could function. But these guys came alongside me, this young preacher, and they loved the Lord. They knew that God had kept them safe, and they said, we're going to help you in your church. Now, it wasn't all of them, but a good part of them did that. They were retirees. They retired from Ohio and from Michigan and from New York and from all over the place. We had Floridians, and we had a lot of Northerners from the Rust Belt states. And they were so awesome. And it made things a lot easier. Every now and then, the hard thing about people leaving us and dying is pretty soon, all of those ones that helped you, they're all gone. And guess what? You're up. It's your time. It's your time to come alongside somebody and start helping somebody else. But Joshua was fearful. He was hesitant. He didn't want to lead the nation into the Promised Land, but the Lord told him. He didn't have Moses. And I'm sure he felt all of the trepidation that a person feels whenever they have to do something. They don't have the experience to do it. Right? There's gonna come a first time that Yuri's going to have to give somebody some kind of a radiation thing because they need cancer treatment. And it's all going to be on you. The supervisor's not going to be there anymore. And it's you. And you better not mess that person up. They're trying to get over cancer, for crying out loud. Right? That's how it is. And that's how it is in life for a lot of us. So how do you succeed in something you've never done before? Right? When you're certain of where you want to go, but you fear failure. You fear it. Well, I have good news for you this morning. Because I've got 4. Now there's more, but I've got 4 really good biblical principles from Joshua chapter 1 that can help us succeed in anything that God calls us to do. So I want to give those to you. Number 1, the first principle is put your feet on it. Now put your feet on it. Joshua chapter 1 verse 3. Can you put that up for me? Joshua 1:3. Every place the sole of your foot treads upon, I have given you. Listen, that's a word from the Lord this morning for somebody here in this house. Every place he told Joshua that you place the sole of your foot, I've given it to you. God has already given all of us a bunch of stuff, but we haven't put our feet on it. And we need to go and walk on that thing. This church truly still needs to build one more building. It really does. The future of this church hangs in the balance. One of the reasons why people don't come to this church on a regular basis and whatever is because this building is less than what they would like to go to. Let's face it. We are very shallow people in the Valrico, Bloomingdale area. And you guys are not shallow because you're here. Right? You guys are good people, but there's a lot of people that just won't ever come through those doors because they'll look at the building and say, I ain't doing that. That's just how they are, you know, for whatever reason, and we don't really want to judge them. So we need to build another building, if for nothing else, to make sure that this church will continue to succeed as it goes forward. And I believe that we can do that. But maybe we need to put our feet back up on that piece of property up there that's next to us. We own it. Maybe we need to actually start putting our feet back on it. He told Joshua, every place that you put the sole of your foot upon, I've given it to you. God's done the same thing for all of y'all here this morning. There are places that the Lord says, I want you to take that. I want you to physically go and take that thing. Right? In other words, God has already given you everything you need for your new opportunity. Some of you here this morning, the Lord doesn't want you to work for somebody else the rest of your life. He wants you to have your own business. He wants you to be that El Jefe. That's right. He wants you to be the boss. You don't have to get paid from somebody else. You can be the person paying everybody else. But you're going to have to go out there. God's already given you that new opportunity. Listen, this is like it's already been done. That's what he's telling Joshua. This is like it's already been done. All you have to do is what? Step out. You got to step out. So every new endeavor starts with the first step. We had Rosie, my granddaughter, my 7th grandchild, with us last week or so, and she is right at the verge of wanting to walk, and so she's cruising. She'll grab something, pull herself up, and make steps, and she'll do that all over. At some point, that little girl's got to make that first step. How many are confident she's going to do it? She'll do it. And then Taylor and Kristen are really in for it. That's right. Every new endeavor starts with the first step. So God is basically saying to Joshua, and he's saying to you and me this morning, that as you walk, God himself will put feet underneath it for you. That's a word, y'all. God will put it under your feet as well. He'll put it under your feet. So put your feet on it. Number 2.
Hey guys, thanks for watching our video. Don't forget to like,
comment,
subscribe,
and hit that bell to get notifications. See you later.
Bye.